Hello, hello, hello. Nate here, living my expat lifestyle in Malaybalay, Philippines. For my replay gang, I don't know if I'm going to cut this up or not, but I definitely say probably skip forward a couple minutes. I'm going to wait until a couple people pour into the chat. I'm trying a new time slot. The Sunday mornings were pretty nice, but I don't know if today's going to work. Hey, there we go. We're working. All right. So been doing pretty good with my gym sessions. So I got all the way up to 250 pounds, and now I'm down to 210. When I got here to Malaybalay, I was probably like 235, 240, and I'm 210 now. So overall, 40 pounds since my heaviest, and about 20, 30 pounds since I got here 3 months ago. So pretty awesome, pretty awesome, pretty excited to not be so fat anymore. Well, it looks like we do got some people coming in the chat here. Awesome. Let's go ahead and say hi. Where's everybody from? The beach of life. Northeastern Mindanao is gorgeous. I haven't been to Northeastern Mindanao yet. I do have some big plans coming for next week. I got a buddy coming in from Dumaguete and another buddy coming in from Bohol. One of them's taking a ferry from Bohol to Cagayan. Then he's going to drive down here, meet up with me. We're going to drive down to Davao, where my other buddy from Dumaguete's coming, and he's flying in with his girlfriend. And then we're going to go do some touring of the island of Mindanao, and hopefully I'll get to Siargao Island. This will be my first time in Davao and my first time going to Siargao Island. But we plan on stopping many places along the way. I've started doing some planning. I don't know if they know I'm doing planning, but I'm doing planning. Tex Pat, I'm assuming you're from Texas. 10 p.m. here. No bueno. Okay. Right on. So I guess I'll go a little earlier then, because I'm trying to find out a good time frame to do it. Bamsi Moy says morning. Good morning. It is currently 1 p.m. here in Malaybalay, Philippines. Adios. TextPat says, well, hopefully you catch the replay there, TextPat. And Bamsi Moy says, I'm down to 89.3, was 100 last winter. I'm assuming kilograms. Otherwise, you're a very small person. That's pounds. But congratulations on the weight loss. I'm pretty happy. Like I've started eating a lot less. Like 2 meals a day is what I'm eating, and I'm going to the gym semi regularly. I went too hard. I think I might have tore something in my shoulder because it's not healing, or maybe I'm just getting old. But I'm going to the gym 4 days a week and doing some walking and stuff. So hopefully we get a little bit better here. I want to get down to, because right now I'm down to 210 pounds. By the end of like, I don't know, maybe August, I'd like to be down to like 190. And then hopefully by the time next year rolls around, I'd like to be down to like 160, 170. It depends on how much muscle I have, right? So if I'm real muscular, I don't mind being heavy. I just don't like being fat anymore. Like it was fine before, but it's really a problem in the heat of the Philippines. Here in Malaybalay, it's a little cooler, but it's still a tropical environment, right? So with the humidity and the heat, it's not good. You know, I've talked with a bunch of expats even this week that have had skin issues. I've had skin issues because it's like heat rash and just we're adapted for the European and cold climates, so it can become a little cumbersome. But I'm definitely looking forward. So I'm hoping get a little bit of my strength back. I lost a lot of my strength. Like my gym performance is pathetic. I'm as strong as a little girl, but I do want to get back down to, I think 170 with some muscle would be pretty good at my age. Freedom Choice says, "Hello, Darren from Davao. Finally made it to alive. Hello, Darren. Welcome. And I'm happy to be seeing Davao here soon. Next week, or shoot, like what, 4 or 5 days, I should be headed down there to meet up with my buddy and go see what Davao has to offer. Hopefully, it's a pretty cool place. I've heard good things. So, AFC Moy, I'm not anorexic. Well, good. I was hoping you were saying kilos, because if you're like 90 kilos, or 90 pounds, that's a very small person, like a woman, like a little Asian woman, not even a European woman, right? Baby Simoy says around 1,000 calories a day. I'm eating protein so I don't lose a little muscle I have. I think that's where I went wrong. So I just quit eating. Like I quit eating very much at all. Uh, Cut down on my portion sizes. I started eating like 2 meals a day, smaller meals, still bigger than Filipino meals, but uh, I did lose a lot of muscle doing that, like a lot, a lot. So I'm really regretting that in the gym now that I'm this weak. But that's part of the game. You can't you can't get strong unless you have a starting point. And unfortunately, my starting point is like where I was at 16, 17. So got to build back up. Well, hopefully it comes back quicker, but I'm a little worried about the shoulder injury because normally, like when I throw it out of socket or like when I have in the past, I had an incident in a high school where I got into a fight and I ended up swinging and I missed. And I was a dumb kid. I was like 16, 17. It was just throwing haymakers. And as soon as I missed, I like popped out of socket. I got my butt whooped. I got my butt whooped pretty bad. I still didn't give up, but I got my butt whooped. And ever since then, it's not been the same. And then I've had some issues with the military where it got worse and worse. But hopefully it gets better. Smurf Crusher in the house. What up, Smurf Crusher? Uh, Fat blocks T levels. Yeah, well, that's why I need to get rid of more of it so I can be a stronger man. Smurf Crusher says, Davao about August 23. Are you returning to Malaybalay after Davao? Yes, most certainly. So, well, we're going to Davao. We're going to take a slow travel up to Cagayan, stopping along the way. Then we're going to Siargao Island. Then I'm going to come back to Malaybalay, and I plan on leaving the country at probably end of July, but I don't know how long I'm going. I was thinking Turkey and Poland, but I'm also thinking Japan because right now they're at like, I saw it this morning, like they keep refusing to raise their interest rates. So now they're at like 158 yen to the dollar, which is like twice of what it was a few years back. So it's a really good deal, and I don't want to miss out on something. Maybe I would want to cash some yen out for future trips as well. But I don't think I'll be back August. I should be back September or October, and then I'll be in Malaybalay probably throughout the entire winter. Freedom Choice just sent me a message if you want me to show some cool things. For example, this afternoon I meet up with 10 plus expats and shoot pool and drink beer. I think that'd be awesome, and I guarantee me and my buddies would appreciate it. So I got one buddy and his girlfriend, and then my other buddy's bringing his girlfriend and their kid. I really don't know how old the kid is, so I don't know, if they'll. I don't know what the kid's gonna do. I don't travel with kids. I've never had a kid of my own. I don't really know how that works. Like maybe the wife stays at home and the guys go out. I don't know. That's like a cultural thing I'm not used to, like having children present. So, but man, how do I get in touch with you, Freedom Choice? Maybe can you go in and send me an email from the link of one of my videos or from the description of one of my videos. That'd be cool. But yeah, I'm sure we would love to meet up and go check some things out. Now, my other buddy, he's a YouTuber too. His Too Much Time on My Hands 65. He's based out of Dumaguete, and he shows off a lot of rentals and stuff there. So if you're interested in Dumaguete, he's a pretty good channel to go check out, and he can give you an idea of the prices and everything. But I know he likes the party. So and Smurf Crush says September I'll likely be Ilo and Baguio. We'll keep in touch. Japan sounds interesting. I might like to go to Osaka. Yeah, I've been to Japan a few times. I enjoy it a lot. It's very orderly and very clean and very well mannered. Although I did see like guys peeing in potted plants outside of restaurants, and I didn't know you couldn't show your tattoos, or it was a big faux pas to show your tattoos, and I got some weird looks on one day. And I got some really good stories from Japan, but I've enjoyed it thoroughly when I've been there. So I definitely want to go back, especially with my dollar getting twice the value. And I've heard all the prices have dropped down a lot too because of their aging population. And then I guess the Holocaust ended up killing off some of the older population. So like there's a ample supply of like housing and all this stuff without a lot of demand. So I think that's kind of what drove a lot of the actual prices down, and then the conversion rate is just insane. But I digress. So today's stream, we're 12 minutes in, so I figure this is a good time to talk about the subject at hand, right? Uh, the subject is Dumaguete versus Malaybalay. I had somebody request Ilo versus Malaybalay, but they're very different. They're almost so different that it's hard to compare them. Be like comparing Chicago to BFE Arizona, right? Like they're just so different. But Dumaguete has a lot of similarities to Malaybalay, so I figured that would probably be a good comparison. And one of the things is the population. So Malaybalay has a population of about 200,000 people, whereas Dumaguete has 135,000 ish people, 134,000 ish people. So you're talking about maybe about a 25%, or no, not even that. Yeah, like 15% more people in Malaybalay uh, as far as size goes. But Dumaguete feels a lot larger because it is such like a clustered area in uh, in one central location. So you get more, even though the population's bigger here in Malaybalay, you get a much more rural, providential feeling from Malaybalay. Uh, One of the things I was going to start off with right off the bat is the air quality. So I looked it up, and today I guess the air quality in Dumaguete is 18, while the AQI in Malaybalay is 20. This doesn't make any sense to me. So I can go walking downtown Malaybalay, and I got no respiratory problems. Everything's good. The traffic's not too bad. Like literally, the only place you get traffic is like a little eighth of a mile stretch, and even then, it's like you may have to stop for like 30, 45 seconds. Whereas in Dumaguete, there's constant traffic. You're breathing in all these car fumes. So maybe the ambient air up high is the same, but when you're on the ground, the air quality in Malaybalay is far superior, like far superior. I was having some serious respiratory problems in Dumaguete because I was living inside the actual city center and walking everywhere. Whereas most of the guys you'll see their videos, they don't actually live in Dumaguete. They say Dumaguete in their videos because that's the nearest large city, but almost all of them live north in Valencia, or to the west in Darwin or Bakong. So they either live in the mountains or they live next to the ocean. They don't actually live in the city. Almost none of them, I think, actually live in the city. In fact, I think you'd be hard pressed to find one of them that lives in the actual city center. I lived in the city center for a couple months, and the air quality is not good. And with that, they in Dumaguete, there's a lot more trash on the ground. You'll see people peeing in public everywhere. Whereas here, you'll still see trash and you'll still see people public urinate, but it's not nearly to the quantity of Dumaguete. And usually, if you're seeing somebody peeing, they're not just doing it in public on the side of the road like they would in Dumaguete. Like they're kind of hiding off in little trees, and maybe that's one of those things where since it's spread out as a city and it's like further apart, there's less like population density. I think that's one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of that. And like I said, the trash on the ground is far less. I don't know if they just have more people cleaning or people are less likely to throw their stuff around or what. But Malaybalay is a big winner on the cleanliness and the air quality. The the weather. So I think it goes without saying, and it'd be pretty obvious that Malaybalay is better. Uh, it's about 10 to 15 degrees cooler Fahrenheit. Celsius, you Celsius people, you'll have to figure it out on your own. But it is significantly cooler. It still gets hot during the day, like from like 11 to maybe like 4:30. Lately, we've been having this weather pattern in Malaybalay where it starts off very cool. So you're talking like 71, 72 at like 4 or 5 in the morning. Then by like 9 or 10, it's up to like 80. Uh, by 4-ish, maybe like 87, 88, then it rains. And it'll rain for like an hour or two. Uh, and it cools off drastically. And then you're talking like low 80s, high 70s for the rest of the evening. Uh, it's almost like here in the mountains, the evaporation cycle is a lot quicker. So it's like it gets very cool, it heats up, it evaporates, it rains, it cools down, and then it just starts all over again, right? Uh, Dumaguete was pretty hot. Definitely, I felt like it was less humid, even though it's like right by the ocean, which doesn't make sense. But it's significantly hotter, which meant when I would go for my walks, it's not like here where I can go if I go early morning or late evening. I can walk, you know, 4 or 5 miles and not be sweaty. If I walk in the afternoon, for sure. Whereas Dumaguete, even when I would go out in the middle of the night, just standing around outside or walking around outside, I'd sweat. But hopefully, with me losing so much weight, that won't be a problem anywhere I go, right? So the weather here in Malaybalay is definitely significantly better for me. The people. So let's go expats first. Expats, I've had great experiences in both places with expats, both Dumaguete and Malaybalay. Tons of friendly dudes. Like it's really cool. Like in America, you don't really get any kind of in-group preference, like somebody seeing you look like them and then treating you better. Uh, Whereas here, if somebody sees that you're different, uh, they they want to talk to you, right? And so it's like, hey, let me introduce you to myself. Maybe this is a new guy. Let me help him out. And I've had great experiences with both. I will say here in Malaybalay, there's not nearly as many expats. There's still expats, and I'm meeting more and more, like from the mountains. So there's a lot of guys. There's some. I met some missionaries. I've met some guys with wives, Americans, English, Australians, and they live in the mountains with their wives. So they only come down every once in a while to kind of get supplies and stuff, and then they just go back. Because I started seeing new guys, and I was like, what the heck? Uh, and yeah, it turns out they're here, or they're just kind of hiding more rural and not inside the city. Whereas in Dumaguete, there's a lot of foreigners. Like it's very popular, especially with like retirement age guys. And when you go to the city downtown, you'll see foreigners everywhere. It's not, I mean, it's not like a European. It doesn't look like a European city. It's obviously still a Philippine city, but tons more foreigners. And with that, you get a slightly different attitude, I could see. So both locations, I've had experiences where I said hi to a foreigner and they don't say hi back. But it happened a lot more in Dumaguete than it happens here. And the people here seem to have like a lot more positive mindset than in Dumaguete. Dumaguete, I would encounter way more people that had like they like to drink excessively. So if you're walking along the boardwalk, there's a like a sports bar there, and there's always just like a whole slew of guys that are drinking. Whereas when I go out, especially like here, and everywhere I've been, Australian guys, British guys, they like to have beers during the day. It's just part of their culture. Uh, but you don't get guys who are like drinking all day every day. Uh, Not like I did in Dumaguete. Also, the people here in Malaybalay, expats, seem like they're better adapted to living in the Philippines, maybe because there's not so much accommodation, maybe because there hasn't been a lot of internet exposure to Malaybalay like there has been Dumaguete. And with that, you get a lot less complaining. So you get a lot less angry Andes or people just upset and like raising their voice or having like that kind of sense of entitlement we've talked about in other videos. Here, it's very much like, well, in Thai, we would say Mai Penrai or Sabai Sabai. Sabai Sabai very much like, hey, it is what it is, let it go, easy peasy. You get a lot more of that here in Malaybalay from the expats, but there's a lot less. Uh, it's still, they have meetings. I went to a bunch of meetups with foreigners in Dumaguete. I've been to a bunch here in Malaybalay. It's cool. Like the expats in both locations are cool. And when I point out these kind of differences that might seem negative and positive, they're relatively minor in the grand scheme of things. But part of living someplace is the people. That's like the main part of living somewhere. As far as the locals go, in Dumaguete versus Malaybalay, in Dumaguete, they're much more acclimated to being around foreigners, which generally does mean that they know they're more they're more comfortable interacting with you on your cultural frame. Uh, so when you say things that might seem a little odd to them from their cultural frame, they're more likely just to be like, oh, he's a foreigner. That's the way he is. Uh, but also with that comes like negatives, right? So they're not as likely to be like wanting to talk to you and like excited to talk to you. Uh, Not great. Filipino people are just awesome everywhere I've been. I haven't been to one location where they've been like rude. Well, so like cutting in lines and stuff. But I mean, like, I haven't met like any area where I've been like, oh, these are bad people. Like when I would go out to Gary, Indiana, and be around there, I'd say, oh, okay, these are bad people. Like these are rude, they're loud, they're aggressive. Like they're not people I want to hang out with. Whereas here in the Philippines, I haven't been to one city yet where I'm like, oh, I don't like the people in this city. That just hasn't happened. Uh, but Dumaguete, they're much more acclimated to foreigners, which means you're less special. Uh, well, I was going to list off a bunch of things, but I like the locals in both places. But frankly, when it comes to like making friends or dating, I think Malai is better. And with that, the dating, uh, w- online dating. Here in Malai, there's not really much. So I stopped using Filipino Cupid or Filipina Cupid altogether. Uh, I've been having that Christian Filipina. They've been emailing me, want me to do a sponsorship. I don't think I'm going to do it. Uh, so what I've been using is like the Facebook dating thing in Tinder. And I use that in Dumaguete as well. Um, we're not really very much luck at all in Dumaguete, like zero. Like it seemed like the women I encountered there were like kind of gold digger types uh, who had dated like foreigners a bunch before, and they were just kind of looking for somebody to take care of them while they offer little to nothing in return. But there's more volume of women on the dating sites, even though the population's smaller. Here, the volume of women on the dating sites is much smaller. I've had a bunch of them here ask me, like, are you Filipino? And as soon as I tell them no, they delete me. Uh, it's happened maybe like 6, 7 times. Uh, but it's not, I never liked online dating. So maybe I'm not the guy for this. But for volume and amount of people on the dating sites, Dumaguete, as far as like cool chicks uh, that you can actually spend time with that aren't like trash bag women, uh, Malaybalay. Uh, so I've encountered a lot of women here that are like very marriage oriented. And, at first I thought, maybe I'd be ready to settle down and stuff, but I don't know. I think maybe I've been single for too long. Because the whole idea of like having something that could lead to marriage and children is like, I think I'm interested anymore, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I want. I'm basically like a woman, right? Uh, but uh, there's a lot of marriage with they're here. They're cool here. I really, to be honest, I didn't do dating very much in Dumaguete or Malaybalay, just a little bit. But from what I've seen, it's like very much they want to get married, they want to have children, and that's fine. Uh, I don't know if I'm ready for that, so I'm trying to keep things casual, and some of them really aren't for it. But to be honest, I probably shouldn't talk about this on video too much because these videos where I've talked about women and dating have screwed me over before, and they'll probably continue to screw me over if I can't keep my mouth shut. So we'll leave that at that. Uh, both cities, Dumaguete and Malaybalay, are like very much college cities. There's huge colleges in Dumaguete. You had the Silliman. You had a bunch of different colleges. In fact, I would say Dumaguete is probably way more liberal uh, as far as like values than Malaybalay. Malaybalay seems like it's more traditional, even though it's a college city. Because I went to a college event over there at Silliman University in Dumaguete. And when I went there, it was like, all right, cool. Nobody was paying attention to me. They couldn't care less that I was there, right? Even though I looked very different, it was like I was just another old foreigner walking around. Like it was not cool. Uh, I saw some people I knew from a restaurant that I frequented, the Mexican restaurant there, and they were like said hi and nice, but nobody was like very friendly, not like they are here in Malai. But when I got there, their source of entertainment was this really like big fat dude wearing women's clothing on stage and like dancing around and lip syncing. They weren't even singing. Like it was just some big fat dude, a big fat ugly dude wearing women's clothing, a ton of makeup, and then lip syncing. Like I could maybe see like if you were legitimately singing, like you had a talent. The dancing was not impressive, and it was just some big fat dude wearing women's clothing. They also had a Pride Month parades in Dumaguete uh, last year when I was there. Whereas, there's definitely like gay people, but I haven't seen any lady boys here. I haven't seen like a bunch of rainbow flags all over the place. Like it seems like it's much more conservative here in Malaybalay when it comes to that kind of eugenics program that seems to be operating in the world. And the colleges, when I'm around the colleges here, as opposed to when I'm around the colleges when I was in Dumaguete, there's a lot more attention towards me, right? So like I'll get that where they look at me, like they casually see me, and then they look again twice. Their eyes get all big. So being a foreigner here obviously is different, but both are college cities, so that's usually good for your dating, right? But let's not get myself in trouble and talk about the dating too much. But I know you guys are interested, so I'll bring it up. Your transportation options. All right, obviously there's no ferries in Malaybalay, a mountain landlocked city. So your ferries don't matter. Ferry system was pretty okay in Dumaguete. They needed to do some work to make it more like logistically sound, because like where you go buy the tickets is pretty far away from the actual ferries themselves, and there's a bunch of hawkers and scammers all waiting around trying to take advantage of people. But here, there's no ferries at all. So they call them tricycles in Dumaguete, whereas they call them motorellas here in Malaybalay. So the configuration of the tricycles was like a sidecar, whereas the Motorella, the configuration is like a rear compartment. Like they have like a little covered wagon on the back. It's cheaper here. It's 10 pesos anywhere inside the city. Here in Malaybalay, I feel like I was paying more in Dumaguete, but I can't remember the exact price. Maybe somebody in chat that knows it can put it on there. But feel like everything's cheaper here. They take you longer without asking for more money. I think it's probably because they haven't had a lot of foreigners just deciding to overpay for no reason. So they don't almost feel like entitled that if you're a foreigner, you should pay more. So when you come over here and you start using it, I mean, feel free to tip if you get a private ride. They're doing great things for you. Like I got a one of the Motorellas I had deliver my mattress. So I bought a mattress. I got this apartment. I bought a mattress for like 110 bucks. Real nice mattress, real thick. Uh, and I paid him 100 pesos. But he helped strap it to the Motorella. He helped do all that. I had another guy. He was taking me all the way from town to here, which is like, I don't know, 10-minute ride, 15-minute ride with all my belongings when I moved from Greenridge. And we were talking, and this is how great these people are, right? So normally it's 10 pesos if you're on a group, right? Like if you're a single passenger and they're picking up people along the way. So I asked him to take me to my new apartment, and I was told him, I was like, how much? And I had said like, I told him like 60 pesos, and I guess he didn't understand me. So he said 40 pesos, and I said, no, 60 pesos. All right, let's go. So I loaded up all my stuff, and he drove me out here, and then I went to go hand him, and I accidentally handed him 70 pesos, accidentally. But then he gave me 10 pesos back because it wasn't what we agreed upon. So I was just so tickled I ended up giving him 100 because he showed honesty. I let him know that's why, like, hey, way to be an honest man. I appreciate you. So here they're not going to try to take advantage because I think of that lack of exposure to foreigners throwing money around like it makes them cool, or because they're trying to relive their American culture here in the Philippines. So I like the Motorellas better than tricycles here. Although both areas had really good transportation when it came to that, for sure. All right, in Dumaguete, they had jeepneys. Here they call them multi-cabs. And they're pretty much the same thing. The system for the jeepneys in Dumaguete was not. I did not like it. It did not make sense. It was inconvenient for me. Whereas here in Malaybalay, it's very, very self-explanatory. Uh, you have where they go down the main road, and you can go all the way through the city, all the way down to Valencia or Merrimag, which is like an hour and some change away. Uh, and then they have a couple offshoots, and they're very clearly labeled on the side where the jeepney is going to go if it's offshoot. They're colored different. But I usually just take it down the main road, and that's 13 pesos. So you're talking 10 pesos for your Motorella, which is like what, 20, not even like 17 cents. And then 13 pesos anywhere in town on the multicam. So 20 cents. And it's great. You ride it. Now, if you're over 6 foot or over 250 pounds, probably not. But I like the transportation options here in Malaybalay better. Also, the bus station goes a lot of different places in Malaybalay. Whereas when I went to the bus station in Dumaguete, it wasn't there weren't that many options to go to like littler cities. I think maybe more people have cars and their own motorbikes, but I like the transportation here better in Malaybalay. So we got a lot more. Let me revisit chat here in a little bit, here for a little bit, and then we'll get back to subjects. Freedom Choice says we do it every Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. Group is getting bigger. The beer is really cold, and I just sent you a message on Messenger. You're the man. We have been chatting there. I sent you a photo of the. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That Darren. All right, sweet. Yeah, bro. Cool. Yeah, I'll hit you up. Thanks, bro. Smurf Crusher, hit that like button, people. Oh, thank you. Yes, please do hit that like button. It helps me out greatly. Mix Selby, welcome. Spent 2 weeks in Malaybalay visiting family. Just got back to Australia. Missed to caught up with you for the ale and a chat. I'm here retiring there in the 6 years. Well, that sounds cool, Mick. Hopefully you get to retire sooner rather than later. I know I'm enjoying my time traveling about, although I guess I'm not retired. Feels like I am after working so many years, 60, 70 hour, 80-hour weeks. But yeah, dang. Hopefully I get to see you when you come on back and come visit. Andrew Palmer. Oh, hello, Dave. Hey, how's it going, brother? Hopefully you got with Roger and you got everything squared away. I've been trying. I'll tell you what. I've been getting so many people hit me up, asking me to find them apartments and houses that I'm going out and doing videos now, and I'm going to try to do more. But it's getting overwhelming with how many people want somewhere to stay, and they're like private messaging me. So like I don't know. It's a lot of time when I like be better off to do a bunch of videos and then put it out to the 30, 40 people more than like individually messaging 30, 40 people with information and actual apartments. Like it's too overwhelming, especially when not getting paid or anything. Smurf Crusher, Hudson River Dance. Maybe something I was talking about before. Eddie All Fighting Two Dwarfs recommended. Oh, I saw that. It was kind of funny. I don't even know if those are dwarves or just regular sized people. He's so huge. But I digress. All right. Back to the differences, but that's good. I like that chat. And thanks all for being in here. I appreciate it. Back to the differences between Dumaguete and Malaybalay. I've lived in both for many months now. So the services. All right. So the services. So as far as like the quantity of Western food restaurants, Dumaguete had like a lot of options, right? They had a Thai food place, they had steakhouses, they had sandwich shops, they had tons of stuff in Dumaguete that you could go to Western style options, like just a good volume and some really, really good quality. And in fact, I got a video coming out in a few days about steaks, sub $10 steaks. Like I want a steak dinner for less than $10. And I had two places that I go and do Dumaguete. Moon, like Moon Cafe, which is like a Mexican fusion restaurant. They would do a filet mignon, and then Racer Cafe, which would also do a filet mignon for under $10. I can't find steak options here. I've been looking, and I can't. They've got them for like 1,200 pesos, 1,300 pesos. But as far as those steak options, Dumaguete would win out. And as far as like the quantity and the selection of restaurants, Dumaguete would win out. Maybe that's why I'm also enjoying Malabalis because it's helping me strip some of my weight. Uh, But with that, there are options here. There are Western options. There's definitely no Burger King, no McDonald's, there's no KFC. Like you're not finding a lot of that junky food. But there's some really great pizza options here. The burger options are pretty sparse throughout the Philippines, but I found a couple places that are like moderately okay. Uh, and the big difference though is going to be the price. So I can go out to a nice upscale cafe here, sit in aircon, and get like a really good uh, chicken meal. Oh, I just give you today's example. So I went to a place called Bean Zone, and I had 3 scrambled eggs, a chicken sandwich, tomato soup. They were out of like their pumpkin soup, and iced tea. And it cost me 450 pesos, so like $7, $8. Whereas pretty regularly, and that's on the more expensive end. Whereas in Dumaguete, it was pretty much like every meal I was spending 10 or more dollars, $10 to $15. Whereas here I'm spending like $5 to $8 per meal at like a sit down, nice location, same as Dumaguete. Uh, and there's plenty of options here where even when I get food delivered, I had food delivered last night. I had 7 chicken wings, like one of them real big. It was almost like an actual piece of chicken. Uh, and what else did I have? Another little meal too. And that cost me like 400 pesos delivered to my door. Well, after tip, it was like 450. I tipped the delivery drivers. It was raining, right? Uh, so here it's like significantly cheaper. You can get cheaper food. Whereas Dumaguete had more selection and more options. So that's the differences between your food stuff. I'm a big music guy. I don't do nightlife. I don't go out to clubs. I don't drink, but I do love to go see live music. So when it comes to live music, uh, Dumaguete had a really good scene and a lot of volume. So I would regularly go out uh, at Moon Cafe, Racer Cafe. They had seafood restaurants. That whole North Point area in Dumaguete had a bunch of live music options. And then you could usually find live music options in the city as well. So they had bunches and bunches of options and like some really good quality bands. Here, the local music seems like it's all centralized around one small place, and I haven't even been to it at night yet. Uh, I only really got to catch the music scene here during the Kamulan Festival. I'm hoping that I can get some exposure to it outside of that, but frankly, I just don't go out at night anymore. Um, the scene here seemed like it was more fun and inclusive, and by that I mean like listen to the bands. It seems like they're a more tight knit community. It seems like they're like more joking with each other. They do more like interchanging of musicians. So like if a singer wants to come up and sing a song, he'll come up and sing a song. If I mean I saw that in Dumaguete too. But as far as the music scene, you're probably better off with Dumaguete because of the volume and the general quality talent. But I still have exploring to do in Malaybalay. So hopefully I can find a good music scene here. That's one of the things I like to do. The coffee, if you're a coffee guy, the coffee culture here in Malaybalay is strong. So I know even when I was talking with Scotty from Regular Guy channel, he's a big cafe guy. He loves cafes. I just started drinking coffee for the first time since I moved here. The coffee culture here is huge. Now, granted, it's expensive, from my opinion. Maybe not Starbucks expensive, but if you're paying 100 to 250 pesos for your latte, espresso, americano, whatever, that adds up quickly on a monthly basis and a yearly basis. But the coffee culture here is huge because they grow a lot of the beans. It's an agricultural area. So if you're like a cafe guy, you like to go hang out at cafes and drink coffee, Malaybalay is going to be the place to be. Also, the food here is real fresh. So I would go and eat out Dumaguete, and like the seafood was like all right. Seafood here is all right. Uh, Probably some of the best tuna I've ever gotten here though was during that Kamalan. I'm guessing on the south side of I forget I think it's General Santos is supposed to be like the tuna capital of the Philippines. So they drove it up here and it was, man, it's good tuna. I don't know if they just prepared it different or gosh dang, that's some of the best tuna I've ever had. But the fruit is fire good, like so good. The best pineapple I've ever had in my entire life is here in Malaybalay. Uh, Normally, when I eat pineapple, I have a couple pieces and then my mouth starts to hurt. And like eventually my guts start to not feel good. I ate half of a pineapple, and from beginning to end, it was just delicious. No soreness in my mouth, no nothing. And it was like, wasn't it sour? It's like sweet, but not overwhelmingly sweet. Some of the best pineapple I've had. I've had the bananas here are really good. Uh, they have like smaller seeded bananas. Uh, and the avocados, they're all right. Not as good as like Mexican avocados, but the avocados here are pretty good too. And the prices for all of them are really, really decent. But they call Malaybalay the food basket of the Philippines. Something like either one third or two thirds of all uh, either fruit or vegetables comes here from Malaybalay. Also, which surprised me with the beef because I guess every year they slaughter like 500 or 600 cows. Uh, and I was just talking with a guy. I think it might be up to three a day now. So you think there'd be like tons of beef for cheap everywhere, but I don't know. I can't find that sub $10 good sized steak. Uh, but the food here, super super fresh. Like I'm back to eating fruit. I never liked eating a lot of fruit and veg. Here I'll eat fruit and vegetables. In fact, I'm working on a video now where I talk about some of their hydroponics farms where they got them connected to restaurants, and I'll bet I'm eating fruit and veg again. Let's just say that. Whereas usually when I travel throughout Southeast Asia, I avoid it because of the issues with diseases, parasites, bacteria, water, right? Whereas here, it's worth any risk at all. It's worth it. Okay, where Dumaguete wins out, big time. Well, not big time, but blackouts and water issues. So this week's been pretty good here in Malaybalay, but they do have quite a few blackouts. Most of them scheduled. So there was last week we were out power like 13, 14 hours. I've seen them do the same thing in Dumaguete. So Dumaguete and Malaybalay both have scheduled power outages that last long periods of time. But the power has been going off here much more frequently unscheduled uh, than I see in Dumaguete. And when I say much more frequently, it's not every day. It's not even multiple times every single week. I saw it a lot when we first started getting heavy rains. It was pretty consistent for an entire week and throughout a majority of like 2 or 3 days out of that week. It's starting to calm down now. I think maybe just the change in the weather really jacked up a lot of the lines and stuff. But from my experience over the last 3 months, Malaybalay has more power outages. Also, they due to El Nino and not the cool metalcore or rap metal band from the late '90s. Or no, that was Cold Chamber. Cold Chamber was the band, and El Nino was the song. Or no, El Loco. Never mind, I'm retarded. Uh, the water issues during the last few months before rainy season started were kind of an issue. There's still some water pressure issues that I have here in my apartment for like usually during midday. So like from 10 in the morning to like 4 or 5 at night, I can't get enough water pressure to activate my water heater. Uh, I know there was a guy who lived like out of the city and a little bit high in the mountains, and he didn't have water for like 3 weeks during this drought. So I never encountered really any water issues in Dumaguete at all. I think there was maybe one time where the water was out, uh, but as far as water issue goes, it seems like it's resolving itself with the rain. It might be an isolated thing due to El Nino, but I can always talk about my personal experience. My personal experience is Dumaguete is going to be better for your water and slightly better on the electrical consistency. And if you're a digital nomad or you plan on doing any kind of work online, the electricity is what you need for the Wi-Fi router. The Wi-Fi router gives you your internet. Your laptop needs power, right? So like electricity is kind of important if you're going to be a digital nomad and continue working. So, but for me, like I've tried to change up the way I work quite a bit. So it's been nice. I kind of like the calmness, right? Kind of just chilling out. Everything's dark. Everything's calm. But I digress. So electrical, water, Dumaguete's the winner. Safety. So I felt safe in both places. I need to do more research as far as Malaybalay because I've talked with the police and I've talked with locals and I've talked with expats and I've talked with just about everyone I can about safety here in Malaybalay, and I get mixed messages, right? So I'm meeting these foreigners who live like pretty far out in the mountains, like on their own little farm, and they say they feel totally fine. I've spoken with the police. They say, "Oh, don't go out very far without calling us first," and this, that, and the other. I've had some people tell me not to walk around at night. Uh, Gathered from everything I've talked to everyone about, it seems like the safety here in Malaybalay, and there is a U.S. Embassy warning, so keep that in mind, uh, is inside the cities totally 100% cool, like 100% safe. The city is cool. Uh, if you go out into the mountains, don't go wandering without like a plan because you might encounter problems if you're like end up trespassing on somebody's land, like the indigenous peoples or the People's Army's property. So if you accidentally trespass, you might have an issue. Or if you're out wandering around at night, which like don't go walk around the mountains at night. That's dumb in the first place. So that's kind of the consensus I've got. But I'm trying to meet with some like government officials to get like a clear and concise, backed by statistics and numbers, uh, uh, understanding of the safety of Malaybalay. So I'm hoping that like the more I talk to him, the more I can kind of figure out how safe it actually is. But inside the city, I would agree with most of the people I've talked to. 100% safe, no issues. Everything's dandy. Even like not even just the main strip of the city, but like maybe a kilometer out on each side. I don't see it, but I haven't even explored out in the mountains because I can't figure out exactly the safety profile so I can uh, mitigate any risks or come up with like a good cost benefit analysis of it. So I'll get busy on it. But Dumaguete, you're 100% safe. People are going to try to talk their way into your money, right? They're going to try to like overcharge you. They're going to try to scam you. They're going to beg you. Beggars, there's a big difference too. I encountered quite a few beggars in Dumaguete, walking there on the boardwalk and throughout the city. Whereas here, only a few, barely any. There's one like large retarded gentleman who is pretty aggressive with his begging, and then a couple kids around here, and then a couple like old ladies, indigenous, but like they're the same people over and over again. Whereas like Dumaguete, I had one lady, or I had it happen multiple times in Dumaguete, where usually the gimmick there'd be a lady, she'd send her kid to run up, the kid would ask for money, I'd say, oh no, thank you. And I continue to walk, and the kid would like harass me and hound me, and then if the kid didn't get money, the mom would run up, start harassing me in Dumaguete. And there was one time I ducked in. It got overwhelming. I kept telling them no. And I even did so I do this thing, and I've done it once here, where if I say no, no, thank you, then if they continue to follow me and continue to ask like two, three times after I said no, thank you, I'll stop in place. I turn to them fully, like 100% on them, right? No blading, just make like a bear, right? Like make myself big, like I'm being attacked by a bear. I don't put my hands up like a bear, but and I look them directly and I say, I, and I go, no, thank you, no. And then I just stand. And usually then like they stop harassing me and walk away. But I had it happen multiple times in Dumaguete where they didn't stop harassing me after that. And the one time I ducked in a pharmacy, and there were like Filipino people walking in and out like crazy. They didn't ask them for a gosh dang peso. So they waited for me to like walk back out so they could continue to harass me. And so Dumaguete with the begging, like it's not a huge deal, right? It's not every time I went out but it's something that like, it's not nice. Nobody likes to be harassed. Uh, so Malaybalay is really good for that. There's hardly at all. Like I haven't really had anybody. I said the one guy asked me multiple times even after I said no, but that was like one time in what, 3 months? Like almost nothing, right? Uh, so I think we went over most of the things as far as the differences and similarities between Malaybalay and Dumaguete. If you have any questions, I'd love to see them in the chat. Or if you had any opinions or comments, I'd love to see them in the chat. Dumaguete versus Malaybalay, like I said, most people don't even live in Dumaguete that say they're in Dumaguete. Like if you go to most of these channels, ask when next time you're in a channel as somebody that says they're a Dumaguete vlogger, ask them where they live. Ask them where their house is. I guarantee you they either say like Valencia, Bacong, or Dowler. None of them are actually living inside Dumaguete City Center. I lived in Dumaguete City Center the entire time I was there. I'm living in the city center of Malaybalay. I've been here the whole time. Uh, so it's a comparison to city comparison. And overall, I like Malaybalay better. That's my personal opinion. All right, let's come back up and read chat. I hope you guys have some good stuff when I get to it about either Dumaguete or Malaybalay. Mick Selby says, I agree with the pineapple. The dragon fruit is great too, but off season now. Oh, I haven't even had the dragon fruit here. I think the avocados have been a little hit and miss this last few weeks too, because the places I normally went to get my avocados haven't had them. But yeah, the pineapple here that's the best pineapple I've had my entire life ever. Is here in Malaybalay. Pineapple contains an enzyme that disassociates proteins uncooked. It is used to tenderize meat. That's where the soreness comes from. Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. Well, I wonder why the pineapple here didn't do any of that to me. Like, I noticed a little difference out the back end, but yeah, there's not a problem here at all. Maybe it's got less of that enzyme or something. Smurf Crusher says, does Amazon or Lazada deliver to Malaybalay? I don't know. I haven't tried. I think I heard somebody. Yeah, that was here. People have had Lazada delivered here. Do not know about Amazon though. I'll ask next time we have an expat meetup. I'll ask that. Just remember to ask me again. Filipina and the Florida and the foreigner. You're up the road from us. We're back and forth. May see you around. Oh, that'd be great. I didn't know there were. Well, I assume you're a vlogger, make videos with a name like Filipina and the Foreigner. I think I've seen one of your videos too. But if you do see me, come say howdy. Like say hello. Don't be shy. I'm a pretty friendly guy. When I'm feeling introverted or I want to isolate, I just stay at home. I don't go out. Mick Selby says we are going solar and just got a water tank for backup. Smart move. I talked with a couple high level government people, and it seems like the electricity's been an issue for a long time, and they really don't know how to fix it. But that's cool, man. There's a reason why things are cheaper here, right? But that's smart. Take care of it yourself, right? Philippine and California down the road in Dumalog. They've been out of water they're still out of water. That's killer, bro. Like I can't imagine renting a place, or even worse, buying a place, and then you don't have water. Like you can't shower. You like can't wash your hands even. Like that's brutal, man. That's brutal. Like that seems like that's not no bueno. No bueno. Filipino and foreigner. Local news there talked about a shootout between the good guys and the bad guys, but we've been driving through the men's and it seems okay. Is that here in Malaybalay or in Dumalog? Very aggressive begging around McDonald's in Valencia. Okay, Valencia. So when he talks about Valencia, there's a Valencia that's north of Dumaguete, and there's also a Valencia that's south of Malaybalay. I've been to Valencia a few times. If you will have noticed, I did not do any videos on it. It was not impressed. It's very concrete where I was walking around. It's very the air doesn't feel clean. It's hot. It was overall I didn't care for it very much. Now, granted, maybe if I had somebody that could show me where the cool places are in Valencia, it'd be different. But from like the 3 days, I did like 3.5 days walking around aimlessly. And I even ate at that McDonald's, and I got begged at that McDonald's too. There were like 4 or 5 kids all just like waiting around, but then also as you're eating, they're at the window like staring at you, making you feel uncomfortable. Not to the Filipinos, just to me. Uh, but yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Valencia. I loved Valencia north of Dumaguete. That I would, if I were to do it all over again, I would, and I wanted to be in that area on Negros, I would go live in Valencia. That's where I would be. But as far as Valencia here on the island of Mindanao, no, not for me. Be sure to avoid Valencia. Do they have longan there? What's a longan? Is that a fruit? Well, obviously I don't know because I don't even know what it is. The pineapple was probably ripe and no pesticides. Could be. Could be. I don't. It was just. It's the best pineapple I've had in my entire life. Freedom choice. I have spent a lot of time in Duma back in 2015, 16, 17. I found Duma are overrated, but the nature is awesome. What speed is your internet there, Nate? So I pay for the lowest speed possible, or second lowest speed possible, maybe. And I pay 1,000 pesos a month, and I have 100 megabytes per second. You can pay for more if you want, but you don't really. I don't need it. I don't think it matters. I don't think I'm glitching out, am I? And for all my work stuff, it seems like it works great. My videos upload relatively quick, so everything I do with the internet is pretty good. Sometimes the movies. So I don't pay for streaming services, but sometimes I have access to their offerings. And some of those sites seem like they lag sometimes, depending on the movie. But I think that's more of like a torrent kind of thing. So, but internet, I mean, you got plenty of options here. In fact, I was thinking about doing a little video of how to set up your internet over there with the local company. They wanted a bunch of paperwork and stuff. I don't like doing any extra work. Mick Shelby, I agree with the beggars at Macca's at Valencia. Peed me off bad. Yeah, I would say I got furious about it, but like it doesn't make for a nice experience, does it? You know, having people run up to you and bother you. But I think that you're going to get that here a lot in the Philippines. And I think generally it's worse in areas where there's more foreigners or there's NGOs. Uh, it's kind of one of those things of like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, I think it's pretty obvious that the begging and the needing mentality is generally worse, where the white man has put his little fingers in and decided he was going to help. And but I digress. That's if NGOs are kind of just money making scams, anyways, and foreigners need to learn to stop throwing their money around because it doesn't have the same meaning to the people where they're going as they intend it to mean, in my opinion. Do whatever you want. Y'all are grown adults. But I think it has a very clear influence on these countries I go to where the foreigners have been irresponsible with their spending. Blue 7779. Welcome, Blue. You're my boy, Blue. Hello, Nate. You're looking well. How's the stray cat dog situation in Malaybalay that you have noticed? Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Blue. You're my boy. I'm happy to be losing this weight, man. Like I'm hoping it just keeps coming off. I'm hoping by the end of July, before I leave the country for a little bit, I can be down below 200, but still have some extra strength. Cat and dog situation is just fine here, man. Like there's street dogs like there is everywhere. None of them have been aggressive to me. I've had a couple where like they've started barking, but I usually just do my same thing where I pretend they're not there. I don't make eye contact. Uh, I'm a dummy sometimes. Like I know, surprise, surprise. If you've been watching my videos, I might be a dummy sometimes, right? Uh, but sometimes when I see the street dogs, I like to, hey, what's up, buddy? But I wouldn't recommend doing that. But usually, if they start barking at me before I go, I just no, 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 no. Kind of a deep no to them, so they leave me alone. And but yeah, I haven't had any problems here. The cats, I don't really see too many cats around. I see them around. They don't bother me. They haven't. None of them tried to touch me. There was one. Where was it at? I think it was on Oslo over in Cebu. We were eating at a restaurant. The cat was like had a bunch of mange. It was like rubbing up on my buddy's legs. Like, but it was like and it was like super flea infested. Like you can see all the little fleas jumping off of the image, and he was trying to go in between my buddy's legs. Uh, but yeah, there's none of that here. No, no, and it looks like seems like just like most places where they've killed off any kind of aggressive breeds, so it's kind of just the chill dogs that are left. There's still the suicide dogs though, where like they're in the middle of the road, they see a car coming and they don't move. Like that's just the weirdest thing. I've seen that here in the Philippines more than I've seen it anywhere in the world. That's just bananas, man. Like dogs don't even move for a giant car, you know? Crazy. Uh, but yeah, so it's pretty good. I actually been doing this thing where I've actually been doing it for like 6 months now, where I've been like, I love animals. I'm a big animal guy. So if I see like a little squirrel in a tree, and you've probably seen in my videos, sometimes I cut them in, or if I see a goat or I see a cow, I have a tendency just to stop and kind of look at them and maybe like talk at them. So I've been like filming a couple of them. I might do a video in a year or two where it's just like an hour long animal video. But I love seeing the animals around here. A lot of cows, a lot of chickens, a lot of goats. I love seeing it. I love seeing it. Fancy Moy says Longin recars it in paste when you find it. Re recars. Move. Take your word for it. Cebu Boss Man. What up, playa? Chilling like a villain. Chilling like a villain. I'm here at my glorious Malaybalay, Philippines apartment that I spend less than 150 a month on, including utilities. This is probably one of the better deals in the area. But for all you guys out there that have been hitting me up nonstop trying to find places, I'm doing more and more videos on hotels and monthly accommodations. So be patient with me. I'm working my hardest. It takes a lot of time to edit and all that. A lot of time. Freedom Choice says I pay $12.99 for or 1,299 for 60 megabytes per second devour per month. Oh, so you're paying more and getting less. Huh. Interesting. I've got a Pasarat or Parasat. Uh, I think those options I could get probably like close to 200. If I don't remember. Don't take my word at that. But Davao is going to be more expensive, right? Because it's a big city, so that makes sense. Arnold Galimba. How about you try the uptown side of CDO? So when my buddies come next week and we go do our tour of Mindanao, we will be going to CDO. I don't know if I was in the uptown side. Every time, like the 3 or 4 times I've been to CDO, I've stayed right where all the malls are. So like SM Mall, Gaisano Mall, all the malls. I stay there. Is that what you're talking about? What is the big attraction of the uptown side of CDO? What's there that's so cool? No, Kenny T. Yeah. I yeah, and animal. Yeah, not the other one. Funny. Smurf Crusher. Lots of animals, excellent. There's a good place for all of God's creatures right next to the mashed potatoes and gravy. I agree. I agree. I was pretty surprised. I was talking with this government guy yesterday, and I kind of understood talking with people how big the agriculture is here. Uh, but after, like, he handed me this pamphlet and he started talking about like getting businesses in, and I didn't realize like just how big it is. So like, uh, is it Dowell? Who's the big pineapple people? Downey, Dowell, Down. I don't. But they have a giant farm here. It's huge. It's massive. I drove there to go to like a mountain restaurant the couple weeks ago. I think it's like the largest pineapple farm in the Philippines. Uh, there's farms everywhere when you get outside the city, and even inside, like what I would consider the city center, they have little hydroponics set up. People have little community farms. There we go. Dole or Del Monte. I think it's a Del Monte. Is the pineapple farm. Thank you, sir, sirs. But the farming here is just amazing, uh, and they got all sorts of food. Like, so I was walking around downtown, and people are actually even growing in their backyard little gardens with rabbits. So I haven't seen a rabbit being sold for food yet, but I have seen the rabbits that they eventually, I'm sure, will make into food. That's like right here in the city center. They have that. They don't really have a lot of other animals in the city center. Seems like they understand like zoning is kind of important. But as second you get like outside of like the major populated areas, see tons of chickens, tons of goats, tons of cows. Uh, and there's just like farms as far as the eye can see. It's really great. It's really great. Now, if you guys remember, I did that video where I showed off some of the nurseries they had, and you can get yourself like a good avocado tree starter for less than $1. And your lemons, like you can get a lemon tree, a couple bucks. So I mean, even just starting your own little garden here, I think this would be a really cool place to settle if I wanted to settle in the Philippines. I'm still uncertain. I haven't even explored Eastern Europe or and only a little bit of Western Europe. And there's more of Asia for me to. But if I were to stay here in the Philippines, this would be a really great option because I would want to have a small farm. I would want to have a bunch of fruit trees, a bunch of like a vegetable garden for my wife. I would want to have that. And the soil here is really good. I've noticed that like uh, during the dry season, it kind of sucked because like it was so dry. You could even see where like there were huge cracks in the soil, like huge cracks in the soil. It dried up so much. But now that everything's like rehydrated with the rain that comes every day, uh, the soil is like real thick and real black. I was out filming rental house the other day, and the soil just it looks so beautiful. It looks so beautiful. You could really tell it had tons of nutrients, everything that you would need to grow your fruits and your veg. So this would be a great place to have like a little farm, which is something I'd want to do. I do. I when I find out where they sell those rabbits, I don't know. Maybe the family just grows them for their own personal consumption. But I've seen one like directly downtown. Then I've seen a couple other places with some rabbits in the backyard munching on greens. So I'm sure those are for eating too. I doubt they're just raising rabbits for pets around here. Blue. Thanks, Nate. I cut back on the carbs, ate plenty of eggs, protein. Now lost plenty myself. Keep up the good work, mate. Yes, too many stray animals can be distressing to see. Yeah, Blue. I started cutting back on the carbs, but one of the things they have here is those bakeries. So when you go anywhere, really, like downtown, the bus area has a couple, but they'll sell you a decent size, so like maybe like that thick, that big of banana bread, and it costs you 12 pesos. So is that like 20 cents? And it's so good. It's so good. Uh, and you can get like bread for real cheap. So if you spend $1, you get a lot of like really yummy breads. They have like tortas, not Mexican torta, which is the sandwich, but it's like a style of bread they have where it's like got a little bit of sugar on it. The bread here is amazing. So I won't say I've been avoiding the carbs because I've been eating on the cheap with my bread, but I've been going crazy on the eggs, lots of chicken. But appreciate you noticing, man. Like I've been kind of working hard at it and exerting some willpower. So it's nice to, very nice to have somebody notice. Thank you. Blue will help out in animal shelters there if I can, pay for desexing a few a week or so. I don't even know if they have animal shelters around here, man. I don't know if they have animal control. I don't know if they have animal shelters. Uh, they they they're not Westerners. They have a different mentality. So I don't even know if they do that around here. I'm sure you could probably hire a veterinarian and like maybe a couple assistants if you want to go have them chase around stray dogs and chop off their junk. I'm sure, you know, if you got the money for it, you could probably hire people to do it. But I don't know how you'd go about doing that. That'd be interesting, Blue. If you do that when you come out here, you had to let me know how it goes because I'd be interested in hearing it. Stephen Cohen, Uptown CDO is a lot nicer. It looks up to Kingston Lodge, or look up Kingston Lodge Hotel or Lodge for a very clean and reasonable price room. So in the rooms I was getting, I was paying like $15, $20 a night. Uh, I don't really like reasonable priced. I don't want to spend more than 40. I don't want to. It makes me sad. And reasonably priced room, and the food is very Western, reasonably priced, and really, really good. Okay. Well, Steven, I'll bring that up to my dudes when we go down there, and maybe they'll want to go check that out. I don't know what we're doing exactly for transportation, but maybe we'll have to see it. We'll have to see it when we get there. Freedom choice. Is there a cinema there? 10-pin bowling, golf, table tennis? Yeah. Yeah. There the nearest cinema is in Valencia, which is 45 minutes south, which where I was living at in America was the nearest cinema to me. Was about 45 minutes away. There's no bowling. Golf? Don't think there's golf. There is. Uh, near that Del Monte farm. So that Del Monte farm that I was talking about, where it's like the largest pineapple farm in the Philippines, maybe even the world. I don't know. There is a huge golf course. I guess they put that there for like the Del Monte executives. But yeah, there is a golf course relatively close. Obviously, it's not in the city center. It's a city. But there is at least one golf course in the area. And table tennis, I haven't seen any of that here. Uh, like I said, but I haven't gone out and done any nightlife at all. I haven't gone out. I go out in the day. So I wake up at about, I don't know, 8, 9. Usually takes about an hour and a half to like wake myself up. I go to the gym. Then I go buy a chicken, come back, eat the chicken, shower, do some stuff on my computer. Then I'll take like an hour nap, 2 hour nap, go out, have my lunch, and go wander around and go have fun. Then I usually come back, stick around here. So I haven't gone out at night at all. If I'm awake, when I'm awake at night, I'm on my computer pretty much. Uh, Darren says off to shoot pool and drink some cold beer here in Davao. Thanks, Nate. Darren from Davao. All right, excellent. You know, I didn't put together the name with the screen name, so yeah, I'll hit you up before we go there. Maybe we can all meet up. I'll be there. My other buddy, he's a vlogger, and we'll have a couple people, so it'll be cool, man. Appreciate it. Later, Darren. Blue says exactly. Plan to garden there. Great to pass the time and help out the locals a bit. Yeah, yeah. Plus, it's cool, man. Who doesn't like going out in their backyard and seeing uh, a bunch of like just fruit hanging from the trees and a bunch of food going out of the ground? Like, there's something like very visceral and like almost genetically ingrained in me, I believe. Because when I go out and I see nature, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. But when I go out and I see nature and there's like fruit and berries and like edible food growing around, like there's something about me that like feels good. Like I don't know if it's like something ancestral DNA kind of stuff, but there is a difference to it. Like I love having around. Plus, if you want to share with people, that's always nice. Bread, I still have no cakes. Yeah, I've tried to cut back on the ice cream. I love ice cream. I go too hard on it, even though I'm lactose intolerant. But the bread, oof, bread here is great and cheap, cheap, cheap. Smurf Crusher, is there a lot of dangerous lightning in Malaybalay enough to avoid hilltops for the house? There's lightning and thunder. Like I said, it rains every day. I hear lightning and thunder maybe like a couple times a week. I don't know if I'd say it's any more dangerous than anywhere else. Uh, so there's two things. Like there's two things I always think about when I'm thinking about building a house. Is I usually do one on a hill because you're gonna prevent any flooding if you're on a hill. But the problem is if you're on uh, the local water, you probably won't get the pressure to your pipes. So you either need to have your own deep well where you have like an oversized pump if you live on that hill. Uh, the protecting from the flooding is good, but I'm sure if you get like a decent sized property and you can get some trees, you can mitigate some of that risk. But I don't know. I don't know the lightning's effect on houses on a hilltop, but I do like building the idea of building on top of a hill in order to prevent any kind of flooding. So we do got 24 people in here. I want to make it somewhat digestible for my replayer watchers. Uh, we're at almost an hour and a half. Appreciate you guys. I got a bunch of it. I got two videos I'm preparing for this week. One is going to be the stakes video, and then another is going to be some rental stuff. Uh, and then, like I said, I'm going out of town. I'm going to be hitting up Mindanao. I'll be recording a bunch, checking out the island of Mindanao. I hope you guys get to check that out. It's been an honor having all you guys in, and I'll end up seeing you guys later down the path.